Hello and welcome to Tech This Week. It was a busy week with a good mix of news coming in from enterprise and the tech startup space. We had loads of funding announcements, M&As, ESOPs, earnings, and much more. One of the interesting startups that raised funding this week was Blaze. It's a California-based AI edge computing solutions provider, which has offices in India, the UK, and Philippines. Earlier this week, the company raised $71 million, which amounts to 528 crore rupees in a Series D funding round, which was led by Franklin Templeton and returning investor Temasek. Later in the show, we will be joined by Dinakar Mungla, who is the founder and CEO of Blaze, to talk about their India plans and funds utilization. But first, let's take a look at the top headlines from this week. India's most valued startup Byju's has completed 2 acquisitions this week, one being the most speculated Topper and the other Great Learning. In total, Byju's has closed 7 acquisitions this year with more than $2.3 billion to expand its portfolio of capabilities. While Great Learning acquisition valued $600 million, test prep platform Topper has been acquired for $150 million, according to the sources. Byju's competitor Unacademy too announced an acquisition this week. It acquired live game streaming platform Rio TV for an undisclosed amount. And as part of the deal, Unacademy will fully acquire Rio TV and enable the exit of all its existing investors. Rio TV, which is a Bengaluru-based company, was launched in 2019. The startup aims to make professional gaming streaming a mainstream career option in India. It claims to have more than 5 million users and over 10,000 live streamers within a year of its launch. Now, both Unacademy and Byju's are on a shopping spree since last year, hinting at a consolidation that the edtech sector is seeing with the pandemic. On Thursday, Unacademy also announced stock options for its 300 educators. It is quite similar to the ESOP that the company hands out to its employees. Gaurav Munjal, who is the CEO of the company, took to social media platform Twitter to announce the teacher stock options, calling it as TSOPs, as an incentive for those teachers who have been with the platform for a long time now. Munjal said that the teachers on the platform will be eligible for fully vested stock options on completing 3, 4, and 5 years with the company. Ride-hailing major Ola also announced expansion of its ESOP pool to 3,000 crore rupees along with an additional 400 crore rupees worth stocks to employees ahead of its IPO, for which the timeline is still unclear. Logistics startups Locus also designated $4 million for its ESOP buyback, at par with the primary of a recent Series C fundraise. The company said that both current and former employees will be able to vest their stock options. Also this week, B2B e-commerce platform Moclix expanded its employee stock option pool further by $10 million to include over 300 employees under the program. It also announced an ESOP buyback program worth $3 million for all eligible employees with vested stocks on the heels of its recent fundraise. Moving on, IT services company Cognizant has raised its 2021 revenue outlook to 9 to 10% in constant currency, which is up from 5.6 to 7.6 projected in the previous quarter. The company expects the full year revenues for 2021 to be in the range of $18.4 to $18.5 billion, backed by the growth in the demand for digital services. The company's digital services revenue for the second quarter of 2021, ending July 30th, grew by nearly 20% YOY, representing a 44% of the total revenue, up from 42% in the prior period. IBM Security has released a data breach report in which it said that the global average cost of containing a data breach has hit a 17-year high of $4.24 million, which is close to about 32 crore rupees. According to the Armonk, New York-based technology company, security incidents have become costlier and more difficult to contain during the drastic operational shifts, which is migration to remote working and cloud infrastructures stemming from the pandemic. In the Indian context, the average cost of addressing a security incident has risen by more than 10% to $2.21 million, which is 16.5 crore rupees. The study conducted by Ponemon Institute and analyzed by IBM Security looked at data breaches experienced by a total of 537 global organizations between May 2020 and March 2021. With $71 million in Series D round of funding, Blaze aims to accelerate its roadmap and strengthen its India operations. So now let's welcome Dinakar Mungla, founder and CEO of Blaze, on the show to discuss more about their plans. Dinakar, first of all, thank you very much for taking the time out and joining us today.
Likewise, thanks for your time.
Yeah, and many congratulations on the fundraise. So we'll start with, what are your plans with these funds? It's a huge Series D round. So what are the plans?
Thank you. Yeah, we're excited. So if you look at the whole, the world of AI, it is at a key inflection point right now. So just to break it down and keep it, kind of in simple terms, the last 10 to 20 years, internet added about something like $13 trillion to the worldwide, market cap of the industry. And AI is expected to be something like 3 times as big, $30 trillion over the next 10, 15 years, right? So that's the huge momentum that's happening. Every industry out there is getting AI. It could be automotive, it could be, how you make cars safer, how you actually make the driving functions, as well as not just autonomous driving, but also the act of building electric cars. Everything is getting AI to improve the cars. The second area is, for example, smart retail, right? Everything from inventory control to making, making the whole shopping experience easier. If you look at the automated checkout at Amazon Go stores, those are some examples. Everything from smart cities is all about making people's life safer, right? Using cameras to have first responder services come in sooner, being able to use it for traffic congestion, these kind of problems, right? In short, if you take Industry 4.0, for example, the use cases wherein you have this whole notion of where people cannot go, like, in a mining rig or somewhere where deep learning is now being employed to address those problems right there. So these class of problems need a different kind of computing architecture. And that is what our company builds. We're a processor and software to address these kind of needs. And we have a strong roadmap ahead of us to deliver to these markets. So this funding, of course, is a great vote of confidence from all the big name investors, and it helps us accelerate our roadmap to deliver to these markets.
What are India plans specifically? Because we understand that you have been functional since 2010, but entering India now, or is it? Have you guys already been in India? What is happening in India?
Yeah. We've actually been in India for almost 8 years now, and we have a fairly large team in India, exceptional talent, and we're really proud of them. They have actually built the product that's out in the market is something that we built between the US and India. A large part of the engineering actually was architecture, engineering, everything was done in India. So there's a team which, we have all functions, in fact, be it chip design, software design, algorithms, all the major functions in India. So naturally, it's a place that we want to grow. We are looking to, aggressively grow the team there to support our roadmap.
Okay. And what are your future plans and strategies, say, for upcoming 12 to 14 months?
So, this whole AI industry is going through this whole major transformation, right? We look at it as AI 1.0 and 2.0. So 1.0 is where all of AI was applied to existing retroactive processors, be it GPUs, CPUs, FPGAs, right? Anything to prove out that AI can work. The second aspect is you need to be a data scientist or an ML engineer to understand and develop an AI application, because the tools are very, very hard. That's why you need to be an expert to build something. Our company is on the mission to make this whole transformation to AI 2.0, where you simplify it, right? First of all, make the processor fundamentally efficient and suitable for AI class of workloads. Then make it very simple to use software to build it. So we have this code-free environment called AI Studio, just like the whole Macintosh appeal, if you will, right? Kind of drag and drop, build applications, deploy applications. So we make it very simple. So when you ask for the next 12 to 14 months, we do have products now in the market, A, to accelerate those, and B, to follow up with a roadmap of products helping us get to this AI 2.0 mission.
And what about competition, specifically in terms of talking about India? How's the market here? Do you really see it is very, very competitive, or what sort of startups or companies are you seeing here around?
So AI is massive. Of course, there are numerous companies. They are very, I would say, I could count worldwide, right? And on my fingertips of companies which are innovating at the full stack level. By that I mean at the processor level, plus the software, synergistic software, ease of use, tools to develop and deploy apps, right? The whole combined advantage. I think there may be 2 or 3 companies on the planet, and we're one of them. So India obviously has immense talent in different areas. We do come across some really good talent, and of course, as we hire from the local market. And there are some exciting, startups also that we periodically come across.
Okay, and what's the team strength here in India? The facility is in Hyderabad, right?
Exactly, in Hyderabad. We're about 200 and close to 250, I believe, in India.
Apart from Blaze, Israel-based data startup Coralogics raised $55 million to accelerate its product roadmap and India expansion. San Francisco headquartered conversational AI startup Gupshup secured an additional $240 million in its Series F round of funding. The company said that the recent tranche will be used for secondary purchase of shares from employees and early investors. Depending on the market conditions, Gupshup is also contemplating an opportunity to go public next year. This week, Bengaluru-based Goat Brand Labs, which is just a 3-month-old startup, raised $36 million, which amounts to around 268 crore rupees in a Series A funding round, which was led by Tiger Global and Flipkart Ventures. The company is co-founded by Flipkart's former fashion head, Rishi Vasudev, and is eyeing the growing D2C market in India. Apart from these, a couple of companies also raised pre-IPO rounds. Online automobile marketplace Droom Technology achieved the unicorn tag. On Wednesday, the company said that it has raised the first leg of its $200 million pre-IPO funding round at a valuation of $1.2 billion. The round is expected to close by the end of this year, and the funds raised from the new investors, including 57 Stars and 7 Train Ventures, as well as the existing investors. Droom is looking to list either on NASDAQ or on the domestic market by next year. The fresh investment comes amid the rise of the demand for used vehicles. Sandeep Agarwal, who's the founder and CEO of Droom, said that the company expects automobile buying and selling to shift online rapidly in a post-pandemic world. The travel and hotel booking service provider raised 270 crore rupees, which amounts to around $36.5 million in a pre-IPO round, which was led by Singapore Sovereign Wealth Fund, GIC. The round also saw participations from Malabar India Fund and others. Private equity firm Everstone Group and global data center major Yondr Group have set up a $1 billion joint venture to operate data centers in India. The joint venture has acquired land for its first data center project in Mumbai metropolitan region, which will operate as Ever Yondr. The first facility will deliver 30 megawatt by 2023 and 60 megawatt of IT capacity when fully developed. According to the company, the joint venture, with an initial capitalization of $1 billion, will support hyperscale clients and service the rapidly growing Indian market, projected to exceed $4.5 billion by 2025. Moving on, Blockchain and Crypto Assets Council, a part of IMAI, plans to introduce a set of guidelines for advertising about crypto trading. The industry representative body also plans to come up with a roadmap for self-regulation on aspects of governance, cybersecurity, among other issues that concern stakeholders. The guidelines on advertising will debut as part of broader self-regulatory framework, which will apply to all members of the BACC group, including WazirX, CoinSwitch, Kuber, ZepPay, and others. They will be aimed at ensuring investor awareness as well as protection from the risks associated with cryptocurrencies. While the advertising guidelines are still in the works, BACC members confirmed that they are expected to be issued in the next 7 to 10 days. While the advertising guidelines are still in the works, BACC members confirmed that they are expected to come out by next week. With that, it's a wrap on this episode of Tech This Week. Do stay tuned in and log on to techcircle.in for more interesting news and updates. Thank you very much for watching.